Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Maryland Snap Ed's Making the Most series. It is so good to be back. We took a week off last week to get geared up for our next several weeks where we are shifting our focus to gardening, because what a fun time to be talking about gardening as a form of food access. So we started out this series talking about school meals as a wonderful resource for families to help feed their families right now. We'll continue to talk about school meals, share information about school meals, which continue to be free to every student in Maryland, ages 2 to 18 through the end of the school year, or actually through the summer now. We'll also talk about foods from your pantry, either from your home pantry or foods that you might be able to access from community food pantries if you're accessing those right now, and sharing information so that you can make the most of those resources. So we want to make sure if you're bringing those foods into your home, you have great ideas of what to do with them, healthy recipes to feed your kids, feed your family, so that not only are you able to access those resources, but you're able to reduce waste and save your dollars for the additional things you need for the grocery store. So gardening. We're so excited for this. Gardening is one of my favorite things to talk about. Each week over the next several weeks, we're going to be focusing on one sort of timely vegetable that it's a good time to plant. We're going to be showing you some little gardening activities. Some of them will be more sort of experiments that get you and maybe your kids involved in understanding how to plant and grow that vegetable. Maybe they yield a little bit, but it's really more about the experience, maybe getting to taste a little something. And some of them will actually be home setups, don't require a yard, small space, that will actually yield some good food for your family. And we will, of course, continue to feature a recipe each week as well, making use of that food. So as usual, please introduce yourself in the chat with your county if you're in Maryland, or if you're from outside of Maryland, your city and state, so we know who's joining us. Post your comments and chat, and I will try to keep an eye on those and respond to those as they come in. So we are going to get started today by introducing our SnapEd guests. We have Jessica Conjure. She's a returning chef for Facebook Live. She's joining us from Charles County, Maryland, where she's the SnapEd educator. And so Jessica, welcome back. Great to see you. And would you give us some updates on what's going on in Charles County with school meals and other community food resources?
Yeah, thanks, Krissa. So we are continuing with the free school meals. There is still the curbside and mobile meal pickup. They have just shifted now to only one distribution. So that is Monday through Friday from 10:30 to 1:30. And then on Fridays, you also get some meals and snacks for the weekend. Some of the sites have changed, so I would definitely check the link that's going to be posted in the comments or chat to see which sites those are, as well as the closest location for you. And then beyond the school meals, we do also still have some great food access resources for you. End Hunger in Charles is a great one to look at. The Southern Maryland Food Bank. We've been working, within SnapEd have been working with a lot. They're doing some produce distributions. And there's also a produce box distribution this Saturday from 2 to 4 at the Eva Turner Transition School. And we're gonna post a link to that as well.
Great, thanks, Jessica. And one thing I want to underscore, we always remind folks that the best place for the information on school meals is your local school district. We want to highlight what counties are doing across the state, but it's going to vary from county to county, and it will be changing as more as more students return to in-person learning. But if your child is going back to school, either hybrid or full-time, remember that school meals are free to them, every student in the school as well. So taking advantage of that can save more money for, like I said, your grocery bills at home. So thanks so much, Jessica. We'll be coming back to you for our cooking segment. We're also going to introduce Rena. Rena Brooks is our SnapEd educator in Queen Anne's and Caroline counties, and she's also going to be our intrepid gardener today, setting up our snap pea growing experiment. So welcome, Rena, and would you go ahead and share with us some information about school meals and food assistance sites in your neck of the woods?
Sure. So for Queen Anne's County, they've just changed their meal distribution for school meals. All meals are now picked up on Wednesday evenings from 4 to 6 p.m. And you get a 5-day supply of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They can be picked up at Bayside Elementary School, Graysonville Elementary School, Queen Anne's County High School, Churchill Elementary, and Sudlersville Middle School. Caroline County is doing something a little bit different. If you have a student that is pre-K through 3rd grade, you will get a meal sent home on Tuesday with your child. Students on the AA schedule, which means they're in school on Monday and Tuesday, will have 3 meals sent home with them on Tuesday evening. And if your student is a BB student, meaning they are in school on Thursday and Friday, they will have 3 meals sent home with them on Friday afternoon. For virtual learning students, those who do not come to the school any of the days of the week, you must go to the county website and fill out the virtual learner meal request form. And then the folks at Food Services will contact you about whether you have to pick up or whether they'll be delivering your meals in person to you. Also, we have the backpack program in Caroline County, and backpacks are delivered on Wednesday each week. And if you are on the backpack list, you're good. If not, and you want to be, you may fill out an application and be added. And as far as food assistance sites in Caroline County, the best thing to do is reach out to Aaron's Place. They have several locations throughout Caroline County that can meet just about anyone's needs. And we're going to post the phone number for the emergency food services if you need that.
Great, thanks, Rena. Thanks for all that information. So if you are in Queen Anne's and Caroline County, we have information for you in the chat. Also, just a reminder, and a resource that we shared on our last live session, that if you are looking for food, that there is a texting application available through No Kid Hungry, where you can text the word food to 877-877, and that will return your closest school meal site, as well as other food pantries that might be available. The other thing that everyone should know statewide is if you go to the Maryland Food Bank website and put in your zip code, you will get a list of all the pantries in your area that do participate with the Maryland Food Bank. But there are other pantries that source their food from other places. So the Maryland Food Bank will give you some, but there might be additional ones available and you can use the texting application for that. So welcome again to anybody who's just joined us. Again, place your county and or city and state if you're from outside of Maryland in the chat, and enter your comments and questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to have Rena show off the setup of a version of the SNAP-Ed Grow Kit. So Grow Kits are something that we've been distributing to our partnering schools that we work with to do comprehensive nutrition education. And so it's a lot of fun, something you can take home. It's got everything you need in it, but really it's made up of things that you can cobble together from materials that you might already have in your house or that you can access cheaply through the dollar store. And one thing we want to make sure everyone knows is that if you do receive SNAP or EBT benefits, well, EBT is SNAP, you can buy vegetable seedlings and seeds with your benefits. So this is a really great way that you can put healthy food on your table, and really, you know, for $2-3 pack of seeds, you can really get a lot of food out of that. So Rena, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you have some friends with you as well who are going to be helping you with the setup.
Yes, I do. So this is their Grow Kit that we have been distributing at the schools, and we're going to talk about what's in it. But if you don't have this Grow Kit at home, just so you know, there's lots of other ideas. You can use empty water bottles, and we like clear containers so that you can see the seedlings, the seeds sprout and grow. If you have glass jars are great. They work well. Plastic or clear plastic juice bottles also work well. The tennis ball sleeves, if you buy tennis balls for your dogs or your kids, that's a great thing to use. Items that aren't as clear but you can still grow in them include things like deli containers, milk jugs are great. Plastic cups from like fast food restaurants or other restaurants, just remember, it does have to be plastic in any container that you use. Make sure it's food grade. And when I say food grade, if it's had food in it, then it's safe to reuse it in your garden. So help the environment and recycle your containers and build your own little container garden. Now, when you are using things at home, you have to make sure either you put, if you're using like the glass container, make sure you put stone in the bottom so that your plants have adequate drainage. If not, you will get root rot and your plants will die. If you're using things like the water bottles, 2-liter, clear 2-liter bottles or juice containers, put some holes in the bottom. 4 or 5 holes in the bottom should suffice, and you'll be making out great. Okay, so another thing to remember is if you're using a bottle like this, you're not going to be able to get into it, so you might have to cut the top off of it. And you can start it with like an X-Acto knife and then cut it with a pair of scissors. As far as putting holes in the bottom, I like to use a heated object like an ice pick or a screwdriver. You can do it with the X-Acto knife. Sometimes it's really hard, but with the heated object, it goes right through the plastic and makes it a whole lot easier. So we are going to go ahead and start planting one of our grow kits. I'm going to hop out of the way, and I'm going to be walking my little friends through it as we're doing it. Now, we've taken, our grow kits typically come with basil in them, but for the purpose of today's growing experiment, we are taking the basil out and we are replacing it with sugar snap peas. So that's what we'll be growing today. All right, I'm going to hop over.
I love the tip about the screwdriver, Rena. I think that's a great one because I've tried before to punch holes in plastic and it kind of tends to tear. So that's a really great tip. So
it does. And the hotter it is, the better it will work. Okay, so my suggestion is before you get started to put down some newspaper or some paper towels to keep your work area clean because this does get a little bit messy. So my little friends are going to come in here.
Hello. We've got
Wave to everybody.
Bo and Colton. Here, can you say hi? Hi.
All right, so my little friends are going to start by taking our container to the grow kit, which already has a hole in the bottom, so we don't have to do anything for it. We opened everything up and took everything out, so we were ready. So one of my little friends is going to hold my container for me. And his brother is going to put the first soil disc in. Do you want to dump that in? Okay. Now, how about we get mom help you guys? Here, let's put it up here, baby, now, because I don't want it to leak on you. It does have a hole, so when you're adding the water, you might want to keep it over the paper towels. Can you dump a half a cup of water in?
Okay.
And so we send these little soil discs with the grow kit, and they make it easy for us to distribute these grow kits to the students at the schools we work with.
God.
This is live television, folks. You can find
It
those.
happened to you too.
You can find those little grow discs at hardware stores, sometimes at dollar stores. But if you don't find them, you can absolutely use potting soil. And a lot of times the potting soil is pre-moistened, so you don't even have to worry about the sort of mixing step.
Yeah, I think the potting soil is a lot easier to work with. The discs are a little bit harder to do. Another suggestion that you have, if you do have an extra container like this, which I think is much easier, and you can continue to repeat this process with the same 2 discs, or you could put all 3 discs in the container and start at once and wet them and then move the soil into the container.
Maybe a little more.
I have to say the discs are cool though. They're really fun.
They are really neat. And children
water.
usually like to watch them grow and turn from, this little hard disc to nice fluffy soil.
You want to try to stir it? Yeah. Here, let brother have a turn. Good job. Nice sharing. Stir it up. Good.
And if you have little people that have short arms, maybe a spoon from home, like a long handle spoon, might be a bit easier to use.
Look, it got bigger.
All right, so we got our first one done. You want to drop this one in? We're going to drop our second soil disc in. Going to add some more water.
Oh, look at it. sucked into there. Wow.
We're gonna give it a minute to suck it up.
Looks a little dry on that
And we're
side.
gonna add a half a cup of water at a time.
What do you think? Gonna stir it. Gotta stab it.
And just as a reminder, anybody that's watching, if you have any questions or comments, please share them in the chat.
All right. I think.
We're gonna get down here to air ground level where we can reach.
Yeah. If he could put his hand
Do
in
this
there
one.
like that.
Hold on
little-
to it till we're ready.
Oh, good. You got another one? Oh, is it time for that, Miss
Yep.
Rena?
Drop the
Okay.
last one in. All right,
Nice.
set it up here so I don't get too
Okay.
wet.
There we go.
We're gonna add the remaining water.
Is it your turn?
And we're gonna stir it up.
Try to get in there and stir it. Hmm. Takes a second for the water to soak up into it.
Yeah, they're really hard.
There we go. It is neat to see it grow, isn't
And you
it?
can't overwater it because the hole in the bottom will allow it to drain out, thank goodness. But if you're not doing it over a paper towel, it can become a bit wet.
So if you're looking for these, oh, your camera just got moved.
That's holding
If
it
you're
up.
looking
Yeah.
for you could look for like soil pellets. I think that's probably the most common thing that they'd be called.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Do you want to finish?
Yeah, okay. Well, then we'll.
Okay.
So Tasha,
So
one
Mom's
of
gonna
our
help you finish.
SNAP Ed educators shared that if you are using the Grow Kit, if you're one of our partners that uses the Grow Kit, that the water bottle itself is a half cup, so that can even serve as a measuring cup for the half cup per pellet. So thanks, Tasha.
These are great helpers. Thanks for holding it. I think we got it good and stirred up now.
Okay, so now our next step is to put the lid back onto the container.
A little stick.
Make sure you do that, and then make sure when you pick it up,
Whoop.
Crystal, you have to do this.
Yeah.
There's a hole in the bottom. Put your finger over the hole or you're gonna have water and dirt everywhere or soil everywhere. And I want you to give it a couple really good hard shakes. And what this does is it finishes breaking up the soil and makes it nice and light and fluffy so that when we put the seeds in, it's ready for growing and helps distribute the last little bit of moisture through it too. So we're gonna get
What do
that
you think?
excess
That
water
look good? You want to try to shake it? All right. You want to shake it too? There we go. Oh, good shaking. Right. We got some good shakes going. You think it's ready? There, stand up.
All right, now we're gonna take the lid back off maybe.
Yeah. It seemed a little stuck. There we go.
And we're gonna kind of flatten it out a little bit, tap it down. And then my friends are gonna make 4 holes, one on the outside. I like to do all of mine around the outside of the container only because you can watch it grow and children love to watch things grow. So we're gonna have them make us 4 holes about 1.5 inches, an inch and a half deep.
Here you go.
So do you wanna
Get
hold
you. Yeah. So we'll stab it down here. Does that look like a good spot? And then,
Do you want him to go ahead?
do you want to put a pea in?
You're gonna put 2 peas in each of the holes, just in case one doesn't grow. That's why we put 2.
Let's put it down in that hole. You can do the next one, down in the hole.
And this
In
is
this
a
hole
great
here.
teachable
Wait,
moment
wait a
because you
minute.
pour those
Wait a
pea
minute.
seeds out and you discover that they are
You're gonna put them
seeds.
both in there. Yeah.
Because peas are seeds that we
Hold on.
eat, and some
One,
of
two.
them, and then some of them you plant.
Okay.
You can end
now
up with more peas.
1, 2. Boy, you guys did good on that, huh?
Okay, here's the last 2.
Okay, another
All right,
one.
so how many have you made?
3 holes. This will
Okay.
be.
Okay, let him put his in. And then here's
Do you
yours.
want 3 or 4?
4. You can do 4
Okay.
holes. So we're gonna do 4 holes all the
One.
way around,
Put it in.
and we're gonna put the peas in and then
2.
cover it up.
And then 1 more, guys. Here, put it in.
That's
1,
all of them.
2.
All
Good
right,
job.
and then we're just gonna kind of try to like smooth the top of the soil over.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, I thought they were gonna, oh my gosh.
my gosh.
Oh my golly.
Well, they're when they're broken.
Well, good thing
When
we
you've
have
gotten
a
that
we have a
far-
finished one to look at.
Yeah, I've got one to finish when it looks at. When you finished it at that point, all you have to do is spray the remaining top of it with a little bit of water to make sure the top is good and good and moist. Then you want to make sure you use your lid and put it down wherever you're going to put your kit. So if it does leak a little bit, it will leak into the lid.
And you can
And-
see where the seed is. It's in there.
Yep. And you want to put it someplace where it's going to get at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight every day. And in 2 or 3 days, you should start to see some sprouts and roots coming off of the peas that we just planted. And in about 60 days, we should have some pea pods coming out on their plants. So I'm going to show you one that I planted a week and a half ago. Can you guys see this?
Ooh, look at that
This-
one.
So these are
Yeah.
probably a couple inches tall. 2 of them are. I only planted 3 and 3 came up, so I thought my odds were pretty good. But you can see there's several leaves on each one of them. This was the slowest growing one. And they've reached a point now where I can't keep a top on it anymore to keep them warm. So I do have to continue to keep it in a warm, moist place. And when it outgrows this container, I'll pop them out and separate them into other recycled containers. And in about 2 months, I should have me some tasty sugar snap pea pods to
Look at
eat.
those. Look at that. What do
Isn't
you
it
think?
amazing how deep those roots grow? So
Yeah.
Look at the
I
roots.
also did one at home, but I wanted to show what it looked like if you use a water bottle. So I did like Rena said, and I just sliced the top off, and I did not punch any holes because I had a little bit of gravel to put in there. And then while they were sprouting, it doesn't really fit. I just kind of put this on to keep it moist, but like just like Rena's, mine doesn't fit anymore. So this is a really fun thing to do, like stuff that you might plant them outside and end up getting a few pea pods off of it. It's not gonna be, you know, a farm, but it might get your kids super excited about trying snap peas and maybe inspire you to try to plant a larger space with them next year. The other thing that you can do with these is you can pinch the tips off and you can eat those. So those are called pea shoots, and they have that same sweet flavor as snap peas do. This is a really fun way to just do a little windowsill gardening experiment and get your kids involved and maybe get a little something to try off of it. And again, build that gardening experience, because it really is a lifetime adventure that you can really build your experience over time to really provide some food for your family. So, well, thank you, Rena, and thank you, boys. That was really cool. And I hope you guys try. And now we're going to go ahead and transition to Jessica, who is going to show us a recipe that you can do using snap peas. Now, snap peas, not only are they a great early spring garden vegetable that you can grow, one of the earliest things you can put in the ground, but they also are a great snack. Sometimes they do show up in school meals. We had to just ask, will this be on the website? We are going to post links in the chat to the instructions. It is the instructions for our snap bed grow kit, but you can easily adapt them based on what you saw using the materials that you have on hand, using potting soil or using a water bottle. But yes, and we also have a garden journal for students that we will post a link to. So if you've got kids, you wouldn't get them involved. It has some prompts that they can write about each week, watching the growth of their plants. So sorry about that, Jessica. Let's transition to talk about cooking with snap peas. So let's talk about what we're going to make today and what ingredients you have.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure how well I can compare to, 2 adorable little kiddos, but we'll do our best with our awesome snap peas here. So we're going to be making our Sizzlin snap pea fried rice, and we're going to be highlighting those awesome snap peas that Rena was just showing us how to grow. So first, I'm going to start out by going over all of the ingredients that we need. So I've got them laid out here, and we're just kind of going to go around the clock here. We're going to start with 3 tablespoons. This is vegetable oil. You could use olive oil, whatever oil you have on hand. But 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 4 eggs, brown, white, whatever you've got. Here are our lovely sugar snap peas. We need 2 cups of those. 1 bell pepper. I've got a yellow one here, whatever you've got really. Just helps to add a little bit of color there as well. 1 carrot. And then we've got 2 cloves of garlic. If you don't have the fresh or raw garlic, then you can also use 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. We have 3 cups of cooked rice. I'm using brown rice here. You can do a mix, brown and white, just white. Maybe if you ordered some takeout by chance and had leftover rice, this is a great way to repurpose it as well. And then we've got 4 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. We've got pepper. I've just got a grinder here of some pepper. That's just to taste. And then 4 green onions. And these we're going to kind of chop up as we go here. So I'm going to shift us over so we can get cooking, turn all of these lovely ingredients into a delicious fried rice.
Yeah, and just connect back to some of our previous themes. Like I mentioned, snap peas are sometimes the vegetable included in school meals. They make a great snack. If they're left over, they could be used in this as a different meal you can prepare for your kids. Baby carrots are often in in school meals. They can be chopped up to use in this. Sometimes bell pepper strips as well. And then of course, rice is a pantry staple that is often distributed by food pantries, or maybe you have some in your pantry already because it's inexpensive, it's shelf stable, and it's a great starter for a lot of different meals. So, all right, ready to cook?
Indeed, I am. Yes, we've got the burner going here, and this recipe is also very nice because I'm going to do everything in one pan. So I don't have to, you see, I've got 1 single burner and 1 single pan. So it's not too much cleanup afterwards. So we're going to start with our oil. We're going to take 1 tablespoon of that 3 tablespoons that we had. And this is going to be to cook our eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in there, let that heat up for a moment. And with our eggs, speaking of the stirring that our friends were doing earlier, stirring is also a great one, not only to do in the or with the garden and the soil, but also in the kitchen, right? So our friends can easily help us stir up our eggs. So we've got our 4 eggs here. We're just going to stir up until they're combined. And then we're basically going to make scrambled eggs. So when we're doing these, we need to make sure we have an extra bowl on the side to put our cooked eggs in. So I'm going to make sure those are all mixed up. And then they're going to go straight into our pan that's got a little bit of oil. I'm going to move that around so the whole pan gets a little bit of love there. And this I have on a high heat. You can turn it down a little bit lower depending on how your stove reacts there. The lovely sizzle, now that we know it is hot. And then we're just gonna give that a stir. So I'm gonna use a spatula here because I'm using a non-stick pan. So if you're using any kind of pan like this, I would recommend using something, that's silicone or plastic, just so we don't scratch the surface of our pan. But we're just gonna move those around. And if you and our friends are comfortable at the stove, this can also be another stirring job for our friends. So I'm gonna get those stirred up and cooking. And eggs, these eggs are a great low-cost protein source. And may be available in a pantry bag or box that you may be getting. I'm kind of curious what other protein sources anyone else might either add into this, or perhaps if you don't eat eggs, if there is a different protein source that you would add in.
Yeah, so you can post that in the chat. I do have to say eggs, I think, are one of the most wonderful foods. They're so versatile, you know, so such good, high quality, inexpensive protein, and can be used to make a vegetarian dish with protein in it, or even if you did choose to add some other protein to this, that you could still include the eggs.
Exactly, and they're so fast. Look, we're already done here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour those into our bowl. Sorry, we got some clanging going on there. And now into that same pan, excellent, I don't have to do any cleaning in between. Into that same pan, now we're going to add the remainder of our vegetable oil. So I don't have to measure this out, I had pre-measured that. So that's our last 2 tablespoons. We're gonna go ahead and add that in, get all of that out there. And like I said, I'm using vegetable oil. You can really use whatever you've got on hand. Vegetable oil usually seems to be the easiest available, something that we all have. And now is when we are going to put in our 2 cloves of garlic. Now I am using the raw garlic. And like I said, you could also use a teaspoon of dried garlic. For the raw garlic, I'm gonna add that in before I add any of the other vegetables, just to kind of mellow it out. And Kara had showed us previously when she was making her fried rice, using her palm to crush, or having your friends do that, to crush the outside skin. We're really doing a lot of the same movements here, aren't we? With the shaking and the stirring we were doing with growing our snap peas. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit there. We're gonna do the shake method. So I'm going to take these and put them into just a plastic container I have. And when I calculated this before, it took me about 15 seconds. It may take a little bit longer or shorter, but I'm just gonna shake them. Do it in the back here so it's not too loud.
Just make sure you'd use a different container that you used from the soil.
Make sure that the lid is on tightly too.
Yes.
So we're gonna pop this open and you see, voila, it has taken off the skins for us. And now our hands aren't garlicky.
So it's a really great trick if you've got a lot of garlic to peel.
Oh, for sure.
For a lot.
So now magically our garlic has chopped itself up and we are going to add that into the pan. It's probably gonna sizzle here. I've got a pretty hot pan. And like I said, I'm just doing this before the veggies to kind of mellow it out. And you can see that my pan is quite warm because it's that garlic is almost instantly golden. So we've got our garlic in there. Now we are going to add our veggies. So we had our sugar snap peas, our bell pepper. It was a little nervous. It turned a little red. It was blushing. And our carrots as well. Now, as Krista mentioned, you could use baby carrots or any other veggies you have on hand, really. We're going to get a little noisy here.
And anyone who's watching, if you have favorite veggies that you would add into fried rice, add those in the chat so we know.
And one of the beautiful, hopefully you can hear me okay over the big sizzle we got going on here. The beautiful part about this dish as well are the colors. I mean, check that out. We've got some red, some orange, some green. And if you're adding in your own, some other veggies, it's a great
broccoli,
looking dish.
Squash.
And while we are letting this cook for a moment to let them sort of soften up a bit and let all those flavors come together, I want to show you a few things about our snap peas as well as our bell peppers. So I'm gonna let that sort of do its thing. For our sugar snap peas that we put in, so we had those chopped. That is a great job for our friends to help with because these are very easy to break. You could use, if you have a table knife or even a plastic knife. They could really chop these up. And these are also, I'm competing with the pan here for attention.
It's actually the sound, it picks up your voice really well, so don't worry.
Perfect. Okay. So with our snap peas, these are also a really fun sort of project to do while you are enjoying your snap peas. If you have some extras left over, you can pop these open, and it's a fun way to discover the little peas on the inside, as well as do a guesstimate as to how many you think are going to be inside. So we're mixing in some math, kind of exploring our sugar snap pea. And the fun is, after you're done exploring it, then you can just pop it right in your mouth and eat the whole thing, you know, the outer casing and the peas on the inside as well.
My kids really like to compare the taste of the pod versus the peas.
Oh, I like that. And these, you could even do a comparison if you ever have access or ever get snow peas. So I used to confuse those all the time. The sugar snap peas are definitely much thicker and have bigger peas on the inside, where our snow peas are really thin. So we checked out the sugar snap peas. I also wanted to mention with the bell pepper that this is also another possible gardening experience, as you can utilize the seeds that are inside of your pepper to plant those and see, or even just sprout them to see what happens. We have a lot of seeds right in our kitchen already. Beans, corn, inside of our a lot of our vegetables and fruits. So you can really, I know you were joking that you wouldn't have a farm, Krista, but with all that we have in our kitchens already, you may be able to be on a good start. So these we're gonna let cook for about 5 minutes. I think we're doing a pretty good job here at letting them, all those flavors get together. Next, we are going to add our rice. Now this, remember, we have 3 cups of rice. I'm using brown rice here. And we're just gonna add this in and move it around and break up any clumps. Oops. I wish I could share the smell with you all as well.
We're working on smell-o-vision. Any day now we'll have that ready.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
We
love
don't have
this
flying cars.
I love the suggestion of using leftover rice for this. In fact, I think it's a kind of a traditional thing to use leftover rice in this kind of preparation. It really kind of soaks up the flavors well.
Oh, for sure.
And a lot of times if I'm making rice, I'll make batch so that I do have leftovers that I can use for rice and beans, something, you know, fried rice. Lots of quick meals can be started with leftover rice.
Yeah, and like you said
In
before,
fact,
really
you can check
versatile.
out our Cooking with Rice episode.
I
That
know.
looks so good.
Razan as well has done some cooking or highlighting our cooking 5 ways and shown how we can use this, you know, in some veggie burgers, and it's really, you can use it everywhere. All right, so we've got that all stirred up. Go ahead.
I was going to say at the end, we'll remind everyone of our YouTube channel where you can find the archive of all of our Making the Most series, and there is one on rice.
So next we're going to add in, this is our soy sauce. We're going to pour that in. Oh, you can hear the official sizzle there. You really feel like an all-star chef as you're doing this with the sounds.
So that's going to add some flavor. If anybody has any other ideas of seasonings that they would add to this to add some flavor, you can share that. I think of ginger.
Pepper. Now the pepper is just to taste. So it's really however peppery you like it. I know yesterday, Krista, you were mentioning ginger. I'm not sure what else other folks would add in terms of seasoning to kind of give it an extra little kick.
I think
Perhaps
like
we have
crushed red pepper or a little pinch of cayenne would be good.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, adding a little extra spice. All right, so we've got that mixed in. Now our eggs are going to join the party again. We're going to put those in. And again, stir. You're getting a good arm workout with this as well, with our shaking and stirring and mixing. And so this you don't need to leave in too long. We're really just trying to get those flavors to come back together and make sure everything is incorporated there. Were there any other veggies?
Well, that looks absolutely delicious. We haven't got any in the chat. You can still add those. Folks that are watching, something that came to mind for me was yellow squash, or broccoli would be great in this as well.
Yeah, and I know that broccoli in Charles County, that we have that as one of our school meal ingredients.
Wonderful. That looks
All right.
delicious. So why don't we pull up our information on our upcoming episodes, and then maybe we can have, while we do that, you can plate some for us so that we can get a final look at this beautiful dish.
For sure.
All right, so we're going to pull up some information on our upcoming sessions, because we are going to be doing this format with gardening and cooking throughout the month of April. All right, so every week on Thursdays at 11 a.m., we're going to be doing gardening and cooking with the variety of vegetables that you see here. So, and like I said, some of them will be little gardening experiments. Some of them will really be showing you how to grow, you know, a really decent quantity of this at home. And we're always going to be focusing on a small space if you don't have a yard that you can grow. So next week, we're going to be talking about growing spinach. We're going to do that in like a shallow container. You can use a plastic bin, like one of those under bed bins. You can use, you know, if you have a shallow crate, you can line that with some brown paper bags. So any sort of shallow container, because you don't really need the depth for spinach, you just need the surface area. So that's going to be really exciting. You can see the rest of the dates there. Make sure you like our Facebook page if you haven't already, and turn on the notifications. That way you'll get the reminders of the live broadcast. And please share this with other folks that might be interested in attending. And then also we want to make sure everyone knows about our various online resources where you can find our information. So eatsmart.umd.edu is where you can find all the recipes that we feature in the Making the Most series. Our Facebook page, if you're watching this live, you've already found your way there. If you're watching this recorded by YouTube, make sure you go to our Facebook page and like it and turn on your notifications. And then on our YouTube channel, you can find all of the archived recorded sessions of the Making the Most series, as well as lots of other nutrition education, little mini lessons, lots of other recipes that we've prepared videos of how to prepare, and lots of other fun content. And then there's an email address, eatsmartmd@gmail.com, if you have any questions about food access, SNAP Ed, school meals, anything that we can help you with. So let's go back to Jessica quickly so that we can take a final look at that delicious fried rice.
If we can switch over to the one, so I feel like I'm gonna mess up the, there we go. Yeah, I didn't want to mess up our display there. So there we have our Sizzlin Snap Pea fried rice. I added in, or garnished on top there, we had some green onions that we had chopped up. That's another great one for our friends to help us with. So we've got a nice meal here, and a great way to utilize, yeah, all of our garden goodness.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Rena and friends. And thanks to everybody who joined us. So we hope to see you back here next week, Thursday, April 1st. No fools. And we're really going to be here for our next session in the Making the Most series. So take care, everyone. Have a great week and enjoy springtime. Bye-bye.